Today I will be talking about a special education teacher's role and how my personal bias could affect my future role as a special education teacher. A special education teacher's role is supporting each student as best as possible with the resources available to ensure that learning is taking place. This includes having realistic goals for each student. It is a special education teacher's role to not only oversee a student's educational needs, but also behavioral needs. Students within special education that have behaviors need to have a plan in place to prevent escalation and, when needed, de-escalation. This means the realistic amount of work a student needs to do may change based off their behavioral needs. It is also a special education teacher's responsibility to be aware of needs based on the student's social community. This includes teaching life skills and being sensitive to cultural differences. A student from a culture that does not regularly show affection through physical touch may not need to be taught social cues to determine when physical affection is appropriate. One way I will need to improve during my education and during my first year of teaching is my understanding of how community involvement applies to the welfare of students. I have not previously experienced an overlap of community resources in the educational setting and have not seen the importance of this. As such, I will need to ensure I am keeping an open mind about how the assistance of the community, or lack thereof, can affect a student. However, my belief that all students can be successful is a disposition that will help me in my future role, as this belief will drive me to help all of my students as best as possible. This also helps me to build genuine relationships with my students that allow the students and I to work effectively as a team. It is important that education professionals are using all available resources to give students the best possible education. One resource that is important for special education teachers is their educational team. Special education teachers being able to collaborate with their team is a very important part of the job. It is important to collaborate with general education teachers, as this will help with planning. By knowing what a student is learning in a general education setting, you can more appropriately integrate their additional help into their day. Other members of the special education department are also a useful resource, as they may have previously worked with the student and may know some good techniques for working with that student. They also have different experiences and knowledge and can be a good resource when lesson planning and interacting with students. My self-disposition assessment directly reflects how I currently interact with the students I work with as a paraeducator. My personal biases come from the work I currently do and have done in the past, and this could potentially affect my relationship with my future students and their families. Particularly, I currently work one-on-one with students, so I'm in favor of individual instruction for students. This, however, as a special education teacher, is not always possible or the best educational environment. By bringing this bias into my future position, I will have to learn how to adapt to ensure my students are receiving the best possible education. This could also negatively affect my relationship with parents if I do not move away from this bias. If the parents specifically want their student to learn more social skills, this is usually best taught in a group. This is the disposition I am working on while I am receiving my education and will continue to work on when I am a special education teacher. Thank you for